Hello, we are Geeks Assembled, and Lee has let me host this one because this this podcast is about something that I have been uber excited about since I was in middle school, and it has finally been brought to the telly. It's Isaac Asimov's Foundation, and this is the first half of the first book, which is called Foundation, and it's a 10-part television series starring a few amazing actors. We have Lou Liobel as Gail Dornick, she's right there, and Jared Harris as Hari Seldon, Lee Pace as Emperor Cleon, the middle one, the one that's the basically the fulcrum of the genetic dynasty. Leah Harvey as Salvor Hardin, Sasha Behar as Mari, her mother, and Laura Byrne as Ito Demerzel. Ito Demerzel being the robot R. Daniel Oliva, and a robot that's actually been around since Earth was the only planet that was instrumental in seeding the whole galaxy. And Terrence Mann as Brother Dusk, the Emperor Cleon, the one who is at the end of his life. All of these Cleons are clones. And Louis Pyrene, played by Elliot Coran, Hugo, played by Daniel McPherson, and Farah, played by Kubra Said, and Cassian Bilton as Brother Don, the younger one. This is a long stretch history piece, and in the first season, it's actually over the course of 100, 200, about 100 or 200 years, and so it's got some action pieces and some set pieces, and it's really, to me, it's really amazing. And I'd like to find out what Lee thought of it, and I am worried a little. I'm worried that what he says will need to be argued fiercely. Okay, so over to you, Lee.
Well, Foundation, it's something new to me. I've never read the books, and so I came into this, not knowing what I was going to be watching. But I have read a few reviews or comments before watching this, and a lot of fans of the books say this has got nothing to do with the books. It's not. It doesn't even resemble the books. Apparently, I don't know how true that is. It is. It's 10 episodes. It's rough. It's just short. I say it's rough. About 8 hours worth of TV watching. It's I don't know. Slightly confusing in parts. All to do with mathematics, of course, predicting the future with the character of Hari Seldon. You see, it lost me there because maths is not my strong point. Maths doesn't interest me at all. I got ungraded at school with maths because I can't add or subtract or divide. I'm dyslexic with numbers.
Oh, dysgraphic.
So maths, the subject of maths just sort of really turned me off straight away. But I got it, I went into the story, I watched it, the scenery, everything like that. It's an epic story and tale, don't get me wrong. The scenes in it, the landscapes, the palaces, the ships, amazing. I mean, the actors are brilliant in this. But there's only one character what I really did like, and the rest of the characters I couldn't care less about. I mean, there's a lot of characters in this, and to say I only really liked one character, all the rest to me, I just didn't get.
Who did you like? Who did you connect with?
Brother Day, Empire.
I had the feeling.
Um,
People have responded to you as an emperor.
No, but he was the more. I mean, I was going to say more fleshed out character, but it was more confusing as well with the Brother Dusk, Brother Day, Brother Dawn, because if you're coming into this with not knowing the background of the story or whatever it is, you don't realize until halfway through the series the clones. Because it was confusing me, and then when you realize the clones, then you start to think, oh, hold on, the older guy was the younger guy a few years back, the younger guy was the young kid, and then it's just getting a bit, it gets a bit muddled in your head, trying to keep up with which one's which.
Right.
But over the years they just keep replacing each other as one die gets replaced, they get a new one, but it is a bit confusing.
Yeah.
Hari Seldon, for me, I think he's the bad guy of the piece. To me, he just came across as he wanted to be a godlike figure. And in the end of this season, the last episode, he sort of hasn't he? He's defied death, apparently. Well, not defied. He is dead, but I don't know. He's still not living, but has he become sentient?
He has sent his psychology, his his intellect to the one ship.
Yeah.
And then he's also sent it to the vault.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's, for me, he was, I mean, it might not be, but he came across, as you got to know him more, as he was the one who was controlling, he was the one who was lying, he was the one who was pushing, what's her name?
Gail,
yeah, Gail Dornick, against her will, really, or playing her.
That's really what, that's what it felt like, is that it felt like Gail, especially in like the second to the last, the second to the last episode, third to the last episode, where she's fighting him to get released from that spaceship back into the cryo tube to go back to Synex. That was a really big set piece. I mean, it was emotional. It was fierce. They were fiercely fighting each other intellectually. And see, that's go ahead.
No. I want to say, but he, as the series went on, as you got to learn more what he was doing, you think, well, he's a bit of a tit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, wow, you think you'd be backing him to begin with. You think, that when he starts off predicting what's going to happen, you think, oh, right, okay, that, he's going to try and save humanity or whatever. But then you think, is he doing it for humanity? I don't know. I mean, also as well, as I've said, I've never read the books. Now you may be able to tell me about this, but I got the feeling with certain characters that they'd been gender swapped. Am I right?
Yep.
Thought so.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that.
All right. Well, in the books there are no female characters except
Oh, well, I don't. Well,
there
I
are
don't.
none, not one. It's all male characters except for one robot and one.
Would it be the two main female characters? Gail and Salvor.
Salvor, yes. Gail, no.
Right. Because as I was watching it,
Demerzel is the other one that was gender swapped. The robot.
The robot. Right. Yeah, I was going to say that as well, but
because in the books, Gail plays hardly any part.
Right.
And there are no other except for a robot in the prequels. There are no female characters because in 1940s science fiction, they didn't write for women. They didn't. I mean,
I understand.
Most of the writing was male characters doing male things. I mean, you'll see that in the movie, the second movie that we watched, The Corpse Vanishes.
Yeah, I understand all that, but it's just when I was watching it, that was the feeling I was getting. So I was getting an obvious feeling. This was coming across obvious to me, and I don't know the history of this of the books. It was really coming across obvious that certain characters were in the TV were female, they were coming across as male characters. You know what I mean? They were coming across as male characters.
Right.
I was getting that vibe. I'm thinking, I wonder if they were originally male and they've changed it to female. So, but as I say, I'm not a fan of that in any TV series or any movie because they're doing it too much these days. But that aside,
but the universe isn't only men. Otherwise, there wouldn't. It would all be clones. I mean,
I know. I'm just not a fan of.
Okay. It doesn't make sense to have a universe like that anymore.
Well, I just don't like it. Anyways.
Okay, go ahead.
But but as I say, the character for me was brother Dawn, brother Day. He was the more fleshed out character. He was more. A great character. Great actor.
Named Lee. So
and a gay actor as well.
Yeah.
I'm being in the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
As Ronan.
Yes.
The Accuser. But brilliant actor, and he every time he was on screen, there was a bit more gravitas. And for me, the best thing that character was when he took the walk, the what was it called? The
walking the spiral.
Spiral, yeah. Them scenes there, they were so amazing. Them scenes were amazing.
Yeah.
Especially, just going through the desert, walking with the old man by his side and all like that, and then supposedly the vision.
Yeah.
But then you saw how sneaky and unreliable he was because he never really had one.
Right.
So he was playing them. But that character for me was a more juicy character.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm digressing. Go on, Susan.
All right. Let's see. I think that the story in the book, in the first half of Foundation, was a story about a scientist versus the Empire. And when he sent the people to Terminus, he sent them, and he grew old on Trantor, and then he beamed his or he had seeded the planet ahead of time. That part is accurate. That the vault was created, or it was seeded there, and then it opened on 2 successive crises. Or this is the first. There in the first book, there's 2 crises that it opens for, and this is the first one, and it's the one where Anacreon, and they don't mention the other kingdom's name, but they gave it a name early on to show that these 2 kingdoms would try and push in and control Terminus, because Terminus had all the technology. And you get that a little bit, and you start to see why this is going to be important later on, because the galaxies, a lot of the galaxy's intellects are going to vanish from the core, and that's kind of a symptom of the problem of the decline and fall of the galaxy. So really, basically, the first book sets up that there's a foundation, and that they hint about a second foundation at Star's End. And the first one is about technology, it's about control, it's about power, it's about forming alliances, which they ended up having to do there on the plains of Terminus. So that was accurate in the story, in generating the story. The story of Rach was never talked about except for in the prequel books. And
can we mention Rach as well? The actor who plays him.
Yeah.
Alfred Enoch, the son of William Russell.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh goodness gracious, that's good news. Yeah.
I thought you'd have been all over that.
No, I wasn't all over that. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I like the point is that Rach in the books disappears. He's never talked about in the book Foundation. He wasn't on his way to Terminus. Neither was Gale. Neither was Harry. None of those people were supposed to be on Terminus at the end. So none of them really were. And the other thing that and so they had to figure out a way to do that, and they had to add real relationships into the story. The fact that in the books even the dialogue is stilted.
Right.
The dialogue is really, really like it's not like you and I speaking. It's very intellectual language.
It doesn't flow like we'd understand it.
It's like sitting in a physics professor's meeting. Yeah, it's full of pointed terms. There's no real personal conflict. It's the generated conflict of the galaxy. And so in this one, because it's Tully, because it's in your face, because the screen is small, because the interactions are intimate, they needed to build relationships. So they connected Gail and Rach, and they connected Salvor and Hugo. And it's funny that they named him Hugo, because one of the characters that Hari Seldon brings under his wing is a guy by the name of Hugo Amaral, and this guy is named Hugo Cast, and that's it's a rhyming, it's a homophone, so that's kind of fun. You get the feeling that they haven't forgotten Hugo Amaral in the whole process, even though they forgot him in the whole process. Anyway, and the Prime Radiant is the Prime Radiant, and that's where the math is done. And they all this tech, you can design you can write your math on this with your finger, and it appears on the screen and all of that. So all of the things that is even more further ahead than we are right now, is in it. And so that's fun. And the other thing that's great is the story has some amazing conflict zones. The conflict between the three existing at the last episodes, the three existing Cleons, Cleon the 13th being completely rebellious and throwing himself out of a window just to make a point, and then trying to woo this gardener. I mean, he could just have anybody, but he chooses this gardener.
I had a question about that. I wish I wouldn't call him Klingon, because every time I heard it, I thought they were saying Klingon.
Very funny.
Well, with the untrained ear, but
Leon.
The question about that character, Brother Dawn, is it?
Yeah.
Brother. You see, I'm getting those. Brother Dawn. At the beginning, he was a small kid.
Yeah.
So where does he fit into it? Because the clones are all the older. Brother Dawn, there's the older type. Where's the little kid clone?
Oh, they haven't birthed one yet. They wait until that one is getting to be day, and then they'll bring another one out of the station.
This is the part what was all
yeah,
over the place.
I just pulled that out because I didn't. It isn't in the book that way.
Ah, right.
There is one Cleon in the book, and then he has there are other Cleons after him, but there's only one at a time, and Demerzel serves them all. And they aren't, I don't know if they're clones or if they're just named all this, like, they just, I don't know what the deal is.
So really, they really have sort of rewritten.
Yeah, because they're the Cleons basically don't have a big character arc in the books.
Right.
They're there till about halfway through the first book. So shortly after this, either the whole Cleon dynasty will vanish, which will suck because that means Lee Pace will be gone, or they will continue on and just say fuck the book and just continue on with Empire being an emperor and not go through the whole religious coup and then the army coup, and then there are 4 coups that take place at the end of the first book, and I don't know if they're going to do those 4 coups, but they don't form Seldon crises. They're just problems on Trantor. And another difference between the book and the televised story is that Trantor is the second foundation, not Helicon, where Hari's from. And Helicon doesn't circle a black hole because nothing really circles a black hole without falling in.
So I can understand why big fans of the books are a bit.
There was quite a little bit of jiggery pokery with them. I mean, literally the story arcs on screen are completely new.
Yeah,
the only one that's stable is Hari.
And he was very unstable in the end, in my eyes. But it was good. It was good to see some cameo guest appearances in this. Alexander Siddig.
Yep, that was great.
Reece Shearsmith.
Yes.
Oh, a Hull lad.
Yes.
From Hull. Ian McNeice.
Yes. Baron Harkonnen. That was fun.
So there was just some familiar faces. You know, I mean, they were in it for a long time, but popped up here and there, and I thought, yeah, great. It was it. I mean, for what it was, for me personally, it was 10 episodes. I mean, I did sit through. It took me 3 days to watch it all, so I split it up.
How did you find when you were watching 3 at a time or 3.5 at a time? How did you feel like it flowed?
Well, the episodes went fairly quickly. None of it dragged, because they say there was storylines, there was action. I mean, when the what do they call it, the Star Bridge?
Yeah, holy crap.
Was destroyed. That was epic. But for me, the idea of a Star Bridge traveling all the way down to the planet's surface, well, not even the planet's surface, because it was the outer shell of the planet, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The real surface was underneath it all. Was a brilliant idea, a great concept. But then to see it all destroyed was amazing to watch.
Yeah.
But also as well, because of what we have in the world today of all these suicide bombers.
Yeah.
When them scenes happened with those 2 people blowing themselves up to create that havoc,
yeah.
It sort of brought it home.
Yeah.
So those scenes were brilliantly done. But
and then the reprisal where he just nukes the hell out of those 2 planets.
The 2 planets, yes. And this is why Lee Pace as Empire, as Brother Day, is such an amazing character. The way that it's just the way he comes across. I mean, sometimes he just doesn't have to say much. All he does is do his hand.
Yep.
And someone who does the job for him, or then he is absolutely raging, or his conniving, made up stories of seeing a vision to fool the priestesses or whatever they were called. Yeah, for me that was the best character in the series. It's a shame I couldn't feel anything for any of the other people, to be honest. I don't know about you. I don't know about you, if you felt more for any other characters or.
Well, yeah, I mean, I did actually. I became connected. I felt a lot of empathy for the way that Gail Dornick was dealing with her situation.
I mean,
She had fallen in love with Harry's son, and because of this disease, his son had decided to kill him in order to be ejected and to run to the cryo. But she wasn't supposed to be there at all, but because of this thing that goes on with her, she was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that caused so much hell for her.
And she spent most of the latter end of the series in cryogenic for
Yeah,
being frozen in space for how many years? Question.
she was then in space for 38 years the first time, and then she was in space for 138 the second time.
Well, the question is for me, how is what's her name? I'll tell you in a minute. How is Salvor Gail's daughter?
Because Salvor, because Gail and Rach had a baby, and then they saved the embryo.
When was this?
Because they didn't want to have any children born on the spaceship.
Right.
They had a specific amount.
I must have missed
When did it happen?
that.
It happened when they had a lot of sex, and there was a lot of sex between Gail and Rach.
Well, I saw the swimming pool scenes, but the
You could just imagine they were like bunnies.
I just didn't hear any mention of babies. That was all.
Yeah, the only thing was the reproductive orders. They talked to Gail about it, and then they talked to and then they talked to Mari about it. Mari mentioned it later. Mentioned them talking to her about choosing that child.
How did the baby become? Because you didn't see any of that.
Because that was 38 years. They took the embryo and then they implanted it, and then Mari brought the baby to term, grew it up, and then it became Salvor Hardin.
It's confusing.
Well, it's no more confusing than the clones, but the clones are confusing too. I mean, the whole. I mean, I don't. The fact that they wanted to make these generations of each other and connect them in strange ways, was just it. I guess it must be to add tension to the story.
Yeah, but it also adds mind muddling to it as well.
Yeah, like especially the final scene on Synax where Gail and Salvor end up on together on Synax. I mean, that I don't know, that never happened in the book. How are we going to get those? Salvor was supposed to be the mayor of Terminus, and all traveling around solving things between the parties on the Outer Reach.
I mean, that's the thing.
Why doesn't that happen?
I mean, that's the thing when she finds Salvor underwater, frozen. When did that happen?
It happened when she left in the beggar, and then she crashed on Synax.
Wait, but you didn't see any crash.
No, I know. I mean, you didn't see beggar to get there.
I mean, that's what I mean. She saw this bright flashing red light, and I'm thinking, oh, what's that? And then all of a sudden, well, when we never saw that scene where the ship came down.
I know, it's true.
I wonder if there's a lot being edited out of this show for timing reasons.
Maybe. I don't know. It's there are no special extra scenes on the Apple TV, and that's the other thing, is that it's Apple TV. So I mean, they could just put everything out there with each season like you would a Blu-ray or whatever, but they they've they've been very miserly with this stuff. I mean, they released each episode a week apart, like a normal show, but it isn't a normal show. So I don't know.
But at least you get sort of previously
Yeah,
on Foundation.
yeah. Did any of the narration, the between episodes or in quiet times, did any of that bother you?
The who it was it Gail who was
Narrating it, basically.
Yeah, because half the time she wasn't in the episodes, so why was she narrating it?
I know that was interesting to me.
How would she know about this? She was frozen.
Yeah.
So she
I don't know. That's a really good question.
If you know, to narrate something of what was going on, you should have been, that character should have been in that story, but she wasn't, because she was floating about in space.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, when I was that, good job you brought that up, because I totally forgot about that. I was going to mention that earlier, but yeah, the narration is a bit misplaced if the character's is cryogenically frozen in space. So really, that character shouldn't be narrating what's been going on.
Right, right.
It should be a character who's taking part in that story.
Right. But I think that they chose her because her voice is so amazing.
Or maybe because her screen time wasn't that much, they thought, oh, well, we'll give her the narration job as well.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
Boy. So other things about the show that you enjoyed, what was your favorite part of it?
I did like the betrayal of Brother Dawn by Brother Dusk, because he knew all along. But also as well, just that scene with Brother Day confronting the young woman, taking her for a walk in the park and seating her down on the bench, and explaining to her everybody she knows, every relative of those relatives, you know, the friends of those relatives, got so on, keep going on and going on. With one twist of his hand, they'll be gone, and you're going to be for the rest of your life knowing that no one will ever know who you are. I mean, that was power.
Yep.
And he just did it. Everybody she knew, who was related or whatever, was gone.
Yeah.
That was just
I found that scarier, that intensity and that,
yeah,
you know, power.
But that's
scarier than the Emperor in Star Wars.
That for me is the sign of a great actor.
Yeah.
Because he did it so subtly, so subtle.
Yeah. Yeah.
He wasn't angry. He was just sat there talking.
Yeah.
Explaining to her what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's a brilliant piece of acting. Yeah. I did like the shroud things. That was a good. Was it shroud them and then just think?
Yeah.
That was, yeah, and just lead them off to, you know, prisoners. That was a good idea. I don't know if that was in the books.
No.
No.
At least that wasn't something that was really memorable.
And also, I did like the Gail's feelings of betraying her family and planet because of her
Mathematical ability.
need for knowledge
Yeah.
of their planet, not allowing, what was it? Knowledge, education. What, I can't remember what it was really.
Yeah, all of the above.
All the above, yeah. But she wanted to know. She wanted to learn. She wanted to discover.
Yeah.
She wanted to better herself, but she couldn't do that because that wasn't the laws of the planet.
Right.
And then she entered that competition or whatever it was, and there was the break. But she had to betray the planet, betray her parents, and leave them.
Yep.
So that there were good scenes.
Yeah. I mean, so in so many ways, Gail is like a classic heroine in that bit. But then at the end, when she feels like she's been betrayed by Harry, she's so on fire, and she's just got her mind made up that she is just done with this.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a shame that character is sort of dealt badly in this series, because every time she's given the character's given something to do, it's a brilliant scene or scenes, facing Harry, accusing him of this, that, on the ship, brilliant scenes. But most of the time she's frozen and she's not in the so I don't know, is it a wasted opportunity to treat a character like that?
I don't know.
Maybe it's because they've got too many characters about. They had to put someone on the back burner for a while and then bring her back later on.
Yeah, I don't know. And the other thing was the other character that really grew on me was Louis Pyrene. He went from such an officious son of a bitch, a sort of a Vogon, he turned into a guy who did the noble sacrifice and jacked into the spaceship. I mean, that he went through a lot of changes, and he was in the book, and I don't remember him being that cool in the book, but I really liked that he did that. And I love that he and Salvor were both willing to jack in, but then Salvor had to kick the Grand Huntress's ass again and again and again. Those two fought so many times. It was amazing. There were so many fight scenes between those two. I can count on my just in my mind. I can remember like 8 of them or 9 of them, and that's just, I mean, wow.
But she got a comeuppance as well. She saw the point.
She got the point. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So they didn't really mention they didn't have any the Thespis and Anacreon, that the stuff at the beginning with the justice of the Starbridge and stuff. None of that existed in the books.
Oh.
And so that wasn't the reason for the fight against the Empire. The reason is that these kingdoms were far enough away from Trantor that none of the new tech was actually making it to them. And so Terminus had to develop the tech to help them stay in the galaxy. Otherwise, they would be cut off again. And a lot of places you'll find in the books get cut off from the galaxy. And that's especially during the search for the second foundation. I mean, you're given clues at the beginning what's going on with that. But then throughout the second and third book, Foundation and Empire and Second Foundation, you're basically searching for the second foundation. Like that becomes sort of like the raison d'etre for the rest of the series of stories after the first book is over. But the first book is all about these crises and these places falling away from the empire. And
Go on.
And I just, they added so much more to that. They added so much personal stuff, these personal connections, which made it intimate. And then they built basically a framework of story to impel this change, with the trial where we get to see. And then also, the fact that, Ian McNeice's character as the mathematician later on, like on the fourth episode or fifth episode, he was like, no, this is absolutely impossible that this works. And then he said, what are the possibilities of this? And he said, vanishingly small. And then Empire goes, but not zero. And Ian McNeice's character, like, says no, and then has a heart attack right then.
Yeah.
I mean, that was intense.
It was intense. I mean, that's when Empire just shouted at him, didn't he? And he just went, oh. I have got a question. Isaac Asimov.
Yes.
Wrote the laws of robotics.
Yes.
And one of those laws of robotics was they do not kill.
Yes.
Demerzel?
Demerzel is working from the zeroth law, which is that a robot cannot allow humanity to be harmed, nor through an action, or cannot harm humanity, nor through an action allow humanity to come to harm.
Right.
So Demerzel has been actually behind the scenes since Earth was still populated. Since before the second great explosion out into the galaxy. Demerzel is an old robot, breaking down all the time, fixing themselves up.
Right. It's just when I was watching it, and I was thinking, right, I know she's a robot, but she's just killed that woman with some things what was on her skin.
Yeah.
She's just killed Brother Dawn.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, well, hold on a minute.
Yes. Yes. And I think you find out in the books that Demerzel is actually behind the Foundation.
Oh, right. I would say, well, I haven't read the book, so I'm just going by what come up on screen.
I know it doesn't seem like they are really part of that that thrust, that Foundation thrust, and that is kind of a weaker point to the story, because Demerzel is definitely central to guiding humanity, guiding the Foundation, guiding the second Foundation. And Demerzel is actually two robots in one. It's Giscard and Daniil Oliva. Giscard, who had mentalics, the ability to change people's minds, the psychic ability of and then Danielle, who was an incredible problem solver and a friend of humanity.
Right.
So Demerzel is the two robots in one. So it's basically, and that isn't shown at all. You don't get any sense that Demerzel can read minds, and that was really challenging for me, because Demerzel, it didn't matter what they did with the Cleons as much as Demerzel being able, to read minds and help, push humanity towards away from this 30,000 year dark ages of basically having to relearn how to go out into the stars from all of these other places. And that separation, that 30,000 year separation, would be enough for humanity to evolve in strange and difficult ways again.
Yeah. It's just, if you're going to change things from the book,
They've changed everything. I mean,
at least you should give some explanation in the story you're telling on screen of something, to help people understand what's going on.
yeah, they did not write this TV show for fans of the book.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not upset at the decisions they made, because it was written in a time when there were no females in the galaxy, hardly at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the 40s were basically men telling men's science fiction stories about men. And the 50s, 60s, and 70s is when men started telling stories about women. And then there was the women that started writing. Barbara Hamley, Ursula Le Guin started really, wrenching the ideas that humanity has to share, the space. Men and women have to share intellectual space in science fiction. But before that, it was pretty much men only. It was like,
I understand that. It's just I'm just not a fan of it happening in nearly everything these days. You're used to something, you're watching something, you think, but just write a strong female character. Don't change.
Well, that's what they did. I mean, the story is nothing like the books.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who was gender swapped.
Yeah,
because they're not even the same character as the one in the book.
Yeah, listen, mate, I'm not going on about Foundation here. I'm on about other things, and you see it every day now. And I'm thinking, well, just create some good, strong female characters instead of changing others. Be more creative. That's what I want.
Well, that's what this is.
Yeah. I mean,
but this is because you were not even invested in the characters in advance.
Uh-huh.
You didn't have a preconceived notion about Salvor. I think that you probably read that. I think that the one character that you must have read a lot of people going on about is Salvor being gender swapped, because.
No, I'm not. I'm not on about.
And Danielle.
I'm on about Foundation. I'm on about other media. I'm just saying you're seeing it every day now. I'm not on about Foundation. I'm saying, please create strong female characters. Be more original. You don't have to take this character and change it into a woman. Create something good for this actress.
Okay, but it wouldn't be Foundation if they didn't include some, points of connectivity to the book.
Yeah.
And
I
so
know.
they had to gender swap. They had to. There wasn't any way. I mean, if you read his story about the time travelers,
Mhm.
it's one guy and his babes. These women that are just throwaway characters. So it's basically one guy and all these other guys fighting about, not being able to have his babes. And so Asimov wrote at a time when there just wasn't. I mean, it took his prequels to get to the racial diversity of the universe.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, like the white male storylines were just, that was the thing in the 40s.
So right. So I'm guessing then, because there was two main characters.
All the people of color, they were all white people.
Right. You see, that for me didn't even cross my mind watching this.
They were
was
all they were all white people. Every single person in Foundation is a white person.
You see, that didn't. It was more the gender thing for me when I was watching. I'm thinking that character was a male, but I bet that character was a male.
Did you get the sense that Daniel was supposed to be male?
The who?
That Demerzel was supposed to be male?
Yeah.
Okay. But you didn't get the sense that Demerzel was supposed to be two robots?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. None of the dialogue came out of the book, so I don't know how you got that. I think maybe you read that somewhere, because Demerzel was supposed to be two robots in one, supposed to be guiding Hari Seldon, supposedly affecting his brain, but not affecting his brain, supposedly affecting Gail's brain, but not affecting Gail's brain, and Hugo Amaral and all these others, pointing them towards, solving the idea of psychohistory. And psychohistory had to be a scientific endeavor. It couldn't be a robotic endeavor. It couldn't be adding and subtracting. It had to be these grand leaps of mathematics, like the theory of relativity, like the theory of that would lead to somebody being able to do time jumps and space jumps and moving through space and moving to other in the galaxy, completely populating the galaxy. All that stuff needed to be. I mean, that's what this story was. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that I can't wait to see what they do with Demerzel, Daniel Giscard, that connection.
Has it been, has the second season been commissioned?
Yeah.
I'll give the second season a viewing when it comes out.
Yeah.
And see if there is any characters what attract me more, drag me in a bit more.
Yeah.
But for me, for the moment, I'm all for Brother Day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I understand. I mean, that he was even the fact that it was, what was it, Cleon the 10th, Cleon the 11th, Cleon the 12th, Cleon the 13th. No, yeah, the 13th.
So you're getting confused
now. And then Brother Don was the 14th. Anyway, those four Cleons. The fact that it was that he was supposed to be the same throughout.
Yeah, he was supposed to be the same person. Yeah.
And he really, such subtle acting, so much, drama, and what a regal personality. And Lee Pace is good to look at.
Yeah.
And his walk, when he walked the spiral
in a loincloth.
In a loincloth, that was nice. And yeah, and yeah, so I think that they did well by the Cleons. I think that was a good idea, turning them into clones. Because also, you know, we're all about the multiverse or about clones these days.
No.
Either one or the other. You got to have one or the other.
Oh dear.
I'm still so much more interested in what they're doing with Demerzel. Because Demerzel is such a big part of where the story goes.
I'm guessing
it goes all the way back to Earth in the 7th or the 8th book. It goes all the way back to Earth.
But I'm assuming Demerzel is having a breakdown of some sorts.
No.
The way she rips her face off.
Yeah, maybe.
And screaming. So she's mostly in conflict or something.
Yes.
Is this going against her programming? I don't know. It might be answered in the second season.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're going to talk about the laws, or I don't know if they're going to talk about Giscard and Daniel. I don't know if they're going to talk about the connections. I don't know if they're going to talk about any of the things that make up Demerzel. Demerzel needs more time. Demerzel needs to be bigger. In my opinion, that robot needs to be front and center.
Oh God, you're going to get a T-shirt printed now, aren't you?
Oh, no kidding. I've been a Demerzel fan, a Daniel fan. I mean, all of the series, all 30,000 years of human history that's described from the robot books all the way through till the end of Foundation is all about Demerzel. It really is. It's fundamentally all about this one robot. So they better fucking make this robot important.
Oh.
Like more important, more stuff. Ripping off one's face doesn't change the fact that one is a robot and one needs to talk about that robot. Anyway, my humble opinion here.
Oh yeah.
Sorry about the swear. But we are an adult channel, so whatever. Anyway, let's go to final say and score.
Well, it was enjoyable. It was brilliantly to what visually it was amazing. As I say, it's a long story to tell in just 10 episodes. As you said, it's just the beginning. Slightly confusing. Slightly confusing because of the 38 years, then 138 years, and then the cloning, and it does get a bit confusing. But for me, it's the powerhouse of Lee Pace in this for me. But I recommend people to watch it and make their own minds up. But yeah, I enjoyed it. But it's confusing at times. That's the word of the day, confusing. So for me, what shall I give it? Oh, no, this is what you've been waiting for, isn't it?
A little bit.
I'm going to give it. I'm going to give it 8 Standy loincloths out of 10.
Oh my God, that's absolutely 2 or 3 points higher than I thought you were going to get.
I was going to give it a 7, but then Lee Pace just pushed it up a bit.
Yeah, Lee Pace does push it up a bit. No, I really for all of the acting that went on, all of the personal intimate conflict that went on, all the discussion about I mean the math is left off, and the robotics is left off, and how space jumps happen is left off. They just do, and that's just the way it is. And how a planet Helicon can orbit a black hole is left off. Doesn't make sense to me. All of these singularities are missed, except for the fact that it's absolutely beautiful, absolutely amazing, and it's a good story. And I just, I have to keep, it's like doing things. Sometimes you have to have something over here you hold on to, and then something over here that's really different that you hold on to, and it's the same story, but you got to like kind of lean in and let it, it's like a motorcycle or a scooter. I personally wouldn't say that this is the same story as in the book. So, and I do like it separately. I enjoyed. I just wish that Apple would have dropped everything all at once. That would have been sick. That would have been super brilliant, but they didn't.
It's just like Disney. They don't either.
No, and in this time of epic science fiction, I'm glad that we're touching on Foundation. I mean, this is like touching the book. It's not like, oh, the book is everything. We will follow the book like the Bible. Like Dune was that. The story of Dune that we got just the other month, that was the book is everything. Hold on to the book. The story is everything. This is like, oh, the book is over there. It's kind of like the book. Look at this. It's like over there somewhere. It's on that planet over on that side of the of the star system. Anyway, yeah. So it's a few parsecs away, but it's still in the anyway. But I do demand more Demerzel, and I'm going to give this. I'll give this 10. I'll give this 10. 10 salty Demerzel jewelry out of 10.
Oh yeah, the salty, yeah.
Salty bracelets out of 10. I think that they need to do more with Demerzel. I think Demerzel needs to be developed more. I think that Demerzel needs to confide in somebody some of their story, because it really is the two, and the duality needs to be discussed, but it probably won't. It'll probably be, oh, that was Demerzel over there. I don't know, whatever, but I really love this, and I love the fact that Robin Asimov, the granddaughter of Isaac Asimov, is producing it, executive producing it. So it is fundamentally part of Asimov's story, and the fact that there were no Asimov stories after Isaac passed away, and the family never continued writing. Like Brian Herbert just kept writing after his father passed away. He just kept writing and writing and writing, and he's still writing, and it's just, Dune isn't done, and so that's fun. But Robin is writing this whole new Foundation based on her grandfather's story.
Oh, wow.
Not bad, not too shabby.
as you said, it's the Asimov multiverse now.
I guess. With clones. It's either clones or a multiverse, and this one's got kind of it kind of is its own separate thing. But yeah, I really like the fact that they did cloning in this, and the Cleons are good. The Cleons, I like that what's the actor who plays Dusk? Hang on.
It's tell you a minute.
Terrence Mann.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was so great. And Cassian plays Dawn, and then like the baby Dawn is played by what's that kid's name? Cooper Carter. Anyway, that was fun. And then the other character, just a quick shout out, was Zephyr Halima, that played by Tania Miller. That was super cool. Oh my god. Yeah, that was the bomb. Inspiring all of that travel by Brother Day. That was sweet. And yeah, so many great actors in this. Let's see. And to be honest, like the fact that I didn't know that Alfred Enoch was William Russell's son makes me feel like a failure as a first Doctor fan.
Oh yeah.
That's Susie. Anyway, thanks for watching our podcast. We owe it all to Asimov and to William Russell, I suppose. And we just invite you to share this widely, to like and subscribe, to hit the bell for notifications. Let me get it out here. Hit the bell for notifications, and join us, will you? Lee and I have room. There's room in this Zoom for everyone. So 18 or older, camera, microphone, some sort of computing device, that would be great. And then the other thing that we'd like to invite you to do is join us on social media. We're everywhere: Twitter, Tumblr. He's got a great personal Instagram channel, and then we've got our YouTube. And thanks for being part of our Facebook group too, because that's fun too. And
fun.
Yeah, do join us again in another week. We turn out things about 2-3 times a week anyway. So thanks for watching. Bye bye.